Hello guys, welcome to another deep value video. Today taking an in-depth look at Constellation Brands Incorporated. This is an American producer and marketer of beer, wine, and spirits. It is the largest beer import company in the United States measured by sales, and it also has sizable investments in medical and recreational cannabis through its association with Canopy Growth. First, let's start our analysis by looking at valuation. Their free cash flow yield is 3.32% and their price to earnings is 46. Their business metrics look pretty good. Their return on tangible assets is 11.5, their return on equity is 17.7, and their return on invested capital is 10.6%. Also, their current ratio is 1.19, which suggests very good short-term liquidity. Their dividend is pretty safe at a 38% payout ratio. Now let's do Grant's valuation, putting in their estimated earnings per share from 2025. We had an intrinsic value of $184.25. Next, the discounted cash flow with a 7% growth rate and a 2% perpetual. We get a DCF price per share of $122, so a bit below the current market price. The historical multiple, well, it's very high because of the 2022, but in general, we can see it's been about 20 something in general. Multiples valuation, I compared four competitors, Diageo, Keurig, Dr. Pepper, Ambev, and Brady Corporation, and we get a stock price of $183. So based on the average multiple of all these companies. Next, the dividend income model, I put in a 6% growth rate, so 1% lower than their uh, cash flow growth rate because they want to grow their dividend in line with their cash flow, and we get an intrinsic value of $214. Now for the output, the average of all these four is $176, so slightly above the current market price, but putting in a 15% margin of safety, we get an acceptable buy price of $150. So below the current price, which suggests that the company is trading near fair value, but it is not trading at a good margin of safety. And I always recommend investors to use a big margin of safety because it's a very important thing to do if you want to be a good value investor. If you want to take into account other risks, you should always use margin of safety because it is basically a mathematical method of accounting for things you have not calculated. So in that margin of safety goes the tariffs risk, the tax hike risk, so a lot of things. And also, in the case that the company does not grow, you also need this margin of safety for the DCF and for all the other value calculations. So, Constellation Brands is a pretty well-known company among investors, but to be honest, it is pretty boring. They were founded 8 years ago. 80 years ago, so in 1945. So this is a pretty old company. I do not think this is an investment yet because they're not priced well enough. But this is not really a bad company. So if you invest in it today, I will not say that you're a bad investor because, as I've shown you, they have great business metrics. Look, their return on equity, ROIC, their current ratio, especially. So these are pretty good. And also, their free cash flow yield is not really that bad, and they've shown that they can increase their dividend so, from the perspective of a dividend investor, they are not really that bad. They actually have pretty good dividend growth rate. So, they're a pretty good company, but just not at the right price for me, in my opinion. You can buy them. You should do it on due diligence. This is in the case of all investments. What I say is not to be taken as investment advice, of course. Yeah, this has been it for today. Now, before we end the video, I'd like to talk to you about our affiliate for today, Ticker Data. Ticker Data is a tool that I use to make this video. So you see here we have all of these financial metrics in real time by just putting in a ticker symbol. So all of this just came up here by putting in the ticker symbol. So this is a great tool and I suggest you use it. It is pretty cheap and you can find it in the link in the description below. Also, do not forget to check out my investing blog from the link in the description below, where you can find many great things, many great articles, and I think for the savvy investors out there, you just love it. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.